2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Lining up, Adrian Neville, and here it comes. Balloon attack tonight.
Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a little sort of update, just a short update episode. So, if you have noticed, ever since the Super Bowl, I haven't put out a game day video. So, I guess just to quickly explain why and the future of this segment of the podcast, I'll just quickly dive into what my thought process has been these past couple weeks, and that is simply that I had a lot of ideas, a lot of things I wanted to do, essentially. As you already know, before the football season started, I was doing a lot of wrestling content. I was covering a lot of different wrestlers and certain things, and I started getting back into that as the football season was coming to a close with game day episodes such as the acclaimed one, the Riho and Yuka Sakazaki one, and even in the past I did ones like for Darby Allin, for Azumi, for Natsupoi, all these different people. So, I wanted to start getting back into that. And then with basketball coming to a close, I was likely going to be covering that, and baseball was going to be starting up. So I was preparing for a lot of that stuff, but then at the same time I was like, I want to do more, but at the same time I understand the limitations when it comes to this podcast, and that is, I still have the one with the rest of the crew, Dom and Gio, and it's a shared space on here, so I can't do too much content because of the whole storage issue. Right now, I actually soon have to download all the episodes onto our extended storage that we have, where we keep, essentially all the archived episodes that we have to clear out to make space for storage, and I have to do that soon again because we're already coming up on our storage limit over there on that side. So, there's that issue. And then, something I started talking over with my dad was just, man, I want to kind of start branching into different areas that wouldn't necessarily fit on Game Day, though, because Game Day is mainly sports, like Paramore just dropped a new album, and I want to cover that, but I don't want to force, Dom and Gio to give that album a listen if it's not something that they enjoy, or, and that's not to say that I don't want them to give something a review and give it a bad review. Like we've given bad reviews before, but I don't want to force them to have to listen to something and, not in a sense give a bad review, but feel like they have to give some type of review, like I don't want to force them to sit through a 45-minute episode and be like, I didn't really like this that much, and then, because they can't come up with an explanation why, I don't want to force them to continually keep going and going, So that was kind of my mindset. I was like, man, I kind of want to expand, but, how do I go about this? And, my dad advised me that, hey, why don't you look into starting a second channel, which is actually something I've had in the back of my mind for a while, and talked it over more and more, and I was like, yeah, like I can start doing sort of the content that I want on a second channel, which, the content I really enjoy is like video essay formats, like those wrestling videos, and I even hope to do some for other sports like football and baseball and stuff like that, and then also doing more sort of album reviews. But as you'll notice, because the very first episode, if I haven't already hinted enough, the very first episode on this new channel is going to be my review of the Paramore album, and you're gonna see it's very different in style from the type of album reviews I do on the Mainline podcast. The Mainline podcast is three guys kind of bouncing off one each other. This one, you're gonna see it has a more like linear sort of format, and that's not to say that or how would I put it, basically you're just gonna see, you'll hear the difference once that is finished up and recording, which is actually what it's going to be recorded after this, and you'll see them both uploaded at the same. You'll see this uploaded and the other one uploaded. I'm gonna save this one until I finish up recording that episode, which will be right after this. I'll make the post on that Instagram, and then on the Rule 34 podcast Instagram, I will put out a post saying, this is the update for Game Day, where, I talk about the future, and, just to make it clear the future is, I have made that second channel. I have talked it over with Gio and Dom, and they told me, yeah, it's fine, because they understand, the mainline podcast is my number one priority, but, they understand that I want to sort of get more into what I'm doing. And, they've also had a couple ideas. Like, I know Gio has talked about in the past wanting to do a football podcast, as in football, So, I always tell him, yeah, go right ahead. It's not like we're going to stop any of each other from, like, expanding what we want to do, But, that was just sort of how I was saying. They're very supportive as always, just as they were supportive when I started this whole Game Day thing. They sort of know it's a little passion and hobby of mine when it comes to podcasting and analysis. So, yeah. So, that's sort of just a little update. If you enjoyed any of the content I did on here, I will be posting, and I will even put it on a story just so people can see it, like, because Instagram's algorithm is pretty weird. So, I'll put it on a story so people can see it too. The name is Triple Crown Podcast. I was originally planning to record on Anchor and have it upload like podcast format, like this one does, like the Apple Music and Spotify. But as I was looking, when you go to record, there's like a 30-minute limit. Now, that's only for one singular recording. You can record multiple segments of 30 minutes. But me personally, I don't want to have to go through that whole, I have to essentially perfectly plan where I'm going to stop and then pick up, So I might, I'll see if I'm able to do like podcasts, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But for the most part, at least for the start, until I can figure out maybe an alternate method, it's probably going to be YouTube only. And even if they're long videos, lucky for y'all, they won't have any ads, because it's not like any of the videos will be monetized, So shouldn't have to worry too much about that. But yeah, Triple Crown Podcast, and then there's already a link tree. The link tree only shows, the Instagram. I did create a Twitter for it, and YouTube, so those will be the links to follow. And like I said, the first video will be the This Is Why album review. And then I already have a lot of stuff planned, ahead. Like, I've been typing up all these different scripts. And in the meantime, while I finish those up, to give myself time, I've taken a couple of older episodes from this podcast to upload there. And they're ones that don't really have any association, in a sense, with, the Game Day name, or even the podcast as a whole, So it's the Darby Allin one. It's the Wheeler Yuta one, the Riho Yuka Sakazaki one, and there's one more that I'm forgetting. Oh, the Acclaimed one. Yeah. And I already set those scheduled to upload. You're going to get the Acclaimed and Darby Allin on Tuesday next week, I believe. And Riho and Wheeler Yuta will be Thursday or Friday, one of those. And after that, the week after, I should have a new video. And then as far as scheduling, I don't know. It all to me, though this is a side project of mine that I want to pursue, at the same time, I'm pacing myself, because this is something I love doing, and I don't want to wear myself out too soon doing it. So as far as scheduling, I don't think I'm going to commit to a schedule. It's whenever a script gets done and I'm ready to record it, which is almost can be said for like a ton of video ideas I have. Like, I don't want to give too much away, but I got a lot in the vault. I got a lot in the vault ready to come, and honestly, I might that might be what I talk. That might be the phrase I use whenever I upload a new episode. Is all right, we got one coming out the vault. Like, I got a ton of ideas that I'm ready to cover. I got a lot of albums, got a lot of wrestlers and stuff. I got this. Me and my dad came up with this idea, which I've seen a couple YouTubers do it already, so it's not like it's an original idea. But I got a couple ideas where I take a wrestler or take an athlete, and I give you like maybe like 3 to 5 games or matches of theirs to catch, and sort of introduce people to these different wrestlers that way. I'm thinking of doing like an introductory series like that, where it's like, hey, here's Here is Mike Bailey from who's known for wrestling and Impact, but all along the independents. Here are like 3 to 4 matches of yours to catch. But before I give you those 3 to 4 matches, here's a little breakdown of his character, what he's like, where he's from, any sort of newsworthy stories. Like with Mike Bailey, the guy was banned from the U.S. for 5 years because of visa issues, which I already know. Hearing that, my dad's gonna tell me, do an episode on this guy so I can hear how the heck do you get banned for 5 years, because of visa issues. But yeah, so I'm thinking of stuff like that, and I'm very excited. And that being said, thank you all for joining for this little update of Game Day. Any of you guys who enjoy, I hope you tune in on that side of the news side, essentially. And I already got a new intro, so that's the last time you'll hear that old school intro. But it's okay. You're going to see that things are much improved, if I say so myself. But thank you all for joining, and I'll catch y'all on the other side.